today my guest that we have here on One Community Rising is Brent Boatman. And I want to introduce Brent. I've just met him a couple weeks ago, and I think he's a wonderful, amazing person. And we're going to share some stories about some UFOs. But we want to know a little bit about your background, how you got into the UFO interest. What brought you into it?
Well, hi, thank you. I was thinking about your experience, actually, how that was the experience you witnessed.
Mm-hmm. And we're definitely going to talk about that because that was pretty amazing. So,
Yeah, I was trying to trip you up, girl.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I'm just a regular, Southern California guy that grew up in a large family and did the schooling thing and went through life. But along my travels and trying to figure out who I am and where I'm going, I had the honor of meeting with a great spiritual teacher in the south of France, and I started seeing weird things in the sky, not knowing how they were linked to a spiritual life or to one's consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, the great teacher, gave a lecture about how to contact the higher beings, and so I listened. And after the conference, I went and I said, "I'm going to test this little theory that he says on how to contact these other beings in the other dimensions." So I did. I climbed up on the mountain and I sat there and I meditated and I set out I call a beacon. I sent out a message saying, "I want to see you. If this is real, I want to see you." And I looked around the sky for about 45 minutes, just let down, it don't work, So we came down the mountain and we walked back into the school, a school for metaphysics and esoteric teaching called Le Bon Fin. And I stepped into this big circle that was on the property, and I looked up, and there were 5 UFOs.
Wow, that's got to be pretty amazing to see that. I mean, the very first day when you went out looking for them, to come across that.
Yeah, and the little girl that I was with, she said before, when we were going up the mountain, she goes, "What are we going to do?" And I said, "We're going to go call UFOs." She goes, "You're crazy." But okay, she went along with me, and so we did this, and we came back down, and we saw 5 up in the sky. And I must have watched them for a good 30 minutes. She saw them. And my mother and my brother were walking across the circle, and I showed them too, and they go, "Look at that."
And how far away were they? Were they pretty close or far away?
No, they were pretty far away, but
okay.
You can definitely tell they were UFOs because they moved a little bit, but they had no, helicopter blade pulse to them and everything, and they were just like, "We're here." I could feel it. You called us, we're here. And I deepened and explored that region much, much more. And I've always been silently doing that. I go out to my backyard at night and I watch the skies, and all of a sudden overhead, think, "Hey, you're here." A light, yep. And I would, just carry on a conversation. I'd ask questions. And I'd get a little flash. But the highlight was I had a spiritual group up north, and they all were curious about UFOs. I said, "Okay, would you like to see them?" They said, "Yes." I trusted my group because they were really on their path, and I said, "All right, well, let's meet at Debbie's house at 6 o'clock on Friday." Had no idea of the weather because it was maybe 10 days out. And we were that night, we're on our way there, and it was very foggy. Visibility was 50 yards. And we go, "Let's just cancel." And I says, "No, don't cancel. Weather will take care of itself. I'm not worried about it." Something spoke through me. Usually I'd say, "Yeah, cancel." It's bad. And we got there, and I said, "Okay, I'll sit down and meditate." And I said, "I want to put intent that we are calling them to come. We want to see them." So we did that, and afterwards we all walked outside. I was the first one. Saw one go right overhead. And then they came out, and they saw them too. And they're like, oh my gosh. But what was most impressive that night was 2 portals showed up in the sky. I've never seen a portal before.
I was gonna say, and tell us what a portal looks like, because I think a lot of people won't even know maybe what that means.
It's where they manipulate the universe and however they want through the energy, and they make a hole in there for it to go through into another dimension. But there was 2 of them, and they were really, really close as your clock is on the wall in your kitchen. They were that close, and you could feel and almost hear the as it's floating across the sky. And the circle is pretty much a circle, but it would kind of change a little bit, and you could see looked like electricity around it, and sometimes going diagonally across it. And there was another one, and there's a tree in the middle, and it looked like they were going to line up the portals. I was just fascinated by that, but I wasn't paying attention to what the group was looking at. But the group said they saw a really big blue ship that just shot off over there. It was above us, and it just took off into warp speed.
Wow.
Yeah, they were pretty like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
So.
But you didn't see that. You just saw. You were looking at the portals.
Yeah, I was more.
So what were you thinking when you saw the portals? I mean, what was going through your mind when you were looking at that?
It's just like, that's different.
Mm-hmm. Did you know what it was?
Yeah.
Right away. So.
Yeah, I knew what it was because ships pretty much go this way.
Right.
This was going this way, and I knew it wasn't a ship, and I go, yeah, that looks like a portal,
Mm-hmm.
Just because the energy and electricity around it and everything. Well, I could have been shipped that way, but I don't think so. I've seen a lot of
Right.
ships, and I've never really seen that feature.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a portal. So, I mean, that's just one of many.
Mm-hmm.
Many, I've seen them many a times. Another fascinating moment was when I was eating dinner, and I was in Paris, outside of Paris, and we needed more olive oil for our salad, and I said, I'll get it. And I had to go out of one house, across the terrace, into the basement of a huge building. And since we were on a terrace, it dropped down, way down low. And I walked out, and there was a UFO 75 yards out, just suspended in the air, not moving. It was idling.
Mm-hmm.
And I was amazed at the lights on the bottom of it. They were so beautiful. They were like alive, and I just stared at the lights because it would be orange, and they'd go like that, and then it'd be green, and then they'd go like that, and it'd be white. But there was no residue from one color to the next. The color was gone. When it changed, it's gone. The change is gone. You'd think you'd see a little bit of the other remnants of the light, and I just was fascinated by it. And I could hear it, and it just sounded like moving wind. That was it, and it was blowing my hair.
Wow.
And I telepathically picked up on the message that it said to me. It said, "This is here. We are here for you to see this." This is when I was with the great teacher still.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in and got the oil, came back out. It was still there. And I watched it. Then I went back in the house, put the oil on the table, just never told a soul. I don't think they'd understand. And I realized, after seeing him over and over again, that is actually our higher state of consciousness is what they represent and is what they are. They are here to help us. They are here to enlighten us and encourage us in a spiritual way. But they don't impose.
And most people wouldn't relate a UFO to spirituality.
I didn't.
Yeah, it's not one of the things that you
sense.
put hand in hand. Until you start on that awakening spiritual journey, then you start seeing all these little connections. It's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, it was. Over the school, I would always see these round rainbows, circles in the sky. They'd be all over the sky, like a prism. I didn't know what it was, so here it is 40 years later, I find out that those are UFOs that are kind of in semi-stealth mode, and they just show up as colors.
Yeah, because we wouldn't be able to handle them as
Yeah.
UFOs.
Yeah.
This same thing, they talk about clouds. Like when you look at clouds, you see certain shapes of clouds, and they look like a UFO. It probably is a UFO because they can't come in the form of in the UFO. So they make it look like clouds so that it, camouflages us so that we're not put into that fear mode. And so they're coming. But you hear it in the mainstream media, and all of that now is a lot more prominent than it used to be probably back when you were going through your first experiences.
Yeah.
20 years ago, something like that. So
more than that.
or more than that. Yeah.
40 years ago.
Wow. So
40 years
yeah.
ago. And
We've come a long way from then.
yes, it's time to get the information to the public.
Yeah.
You have a lot of projects, David Wilcox, Corey Good, doing the disclosure. And I know it's time because they serve a very important role for humanity.
Yeah.
Very, very important role. In fact, they make themselves, as you know, much more available for presentation and to show themselves. They want to be with us. They want to be amongst our species. I mean, they actually are the ones who have been here before us.
Yeah.
And it's hard to fathom that, but they are our babysitters.
Well, and that's a topic that eventually we're going to get into because we are now creating and putting together this event through One Community Rising where we're going to contact in the desert in Las Vegas or contact in Las Vegas desert, because we want to bring together that community where people can come together and talk about these types of things.
About that.
Yeah, so it should be a lot of fun. Now, last night you and I went out, so that was really amazing. So I kind of want to share that a little bit.
Yeah, can I give you a little prelude?
Yeah.
Well, Shay's always kind of like taking the back seat about this, tapping the pencil, not too sure about this. And I said, well, let's just fix that. He said, you want to see UFO, Shay? She says, yeah. I go, all right. She agreed to come and pick me up and take it away.
Yeah, so we went out last night. We went out into the desert, way out in the desert, where we're totally out of the city lights. So that was kind of cool. We drove all the way out there. And then we took our chairs. Now, because I want to point this out to people, because a lot of people, you're standing up and looking up all night. So I wanted to bring one of my chairs
Camping recliners.
Yeah, camping recliners, so that I could sit in the chair and look up this way, because you had already told me that a lot of people have a hard time standing there and looking in the sky all the time. So I thought, well, I want to go prepared because I want to see. So I just put my chair out and I just sat there and I looked up in the sky. And as soon as we got there, we turned off the lights on the truck and everything, got our chair situated, and then you called upon your galactic family.
You asked me. She asked me, she goes, Brent, what do you do?
Oh, yeah, I did ask that because I'm like, how do you call them in?
Yeah, what do you do in order to get their attention? And I was actually doing that when you were setting up, was I was getting quiet. I was linking up to my higher self. And I said, funny you should ask that. And I says, universe, this is my friend Shay, and I want you to say hello.
And then, bam, a flash in the sky. It was like so amazing. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was honestly like, whoa, I saw that. And it was like that fast. And I'm like, dang. And I thought, okay, well, it's coincidence, right? Just a flash in the sky. Where you're like, yeah.
Still tapping the pencil.
Yes. So anyway, we just sat there for another hour or so and just watching different movement in the sky. Now, there's a difference between planes and the UFOs, which if you really watch the sky, you can see the difference, but I didn't know the difference. So, Brent explained to me that the planes always have the red and the green lights flashing. And so the strobes. So when you actually look up and you're just watching, you'll see movement.
Yeah. They're out there doing what they're designed to do. We'll get into that later. But I also have night vision. And when you have night vision, you can see a strobe light 10 miles away popping. It just really sticks out. and I was teaching her the difference, especially in high altitudes, the difference between a UFO and a plane, because a lot of them say, well, it's probably a plane. I go, look how it's all lit up, and it's not a directional light. And there was one that went over completely lit up. It was just like so bright. It was like when you first strike a match bright, and it just goes right over the top of us. I counted up to 14 different events.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So we saw like about 14. You said you saw.
Yeah, I counted up that many. I kind of gave up because,
I know after a while and I saw so many, and there were a couple that I saw I didn't even point out. I just watched them, because there was so many. So I think that it's going to be really great when we start getting our group together and we pull people in, and people can just bring in their anti-gravity chairs and sit down. We all can get in a circle and we all just point out and look at all of these in the sky, because it's so beautiful. It's so amazing. But the best part and the cincher was when we got ready to leave.
Yes. And so we're wrapping up, and I don't know what happened. I just said I usually always say thank you, and I salute the universe with love and appreciation. And I don't know what happened. I said say goodbye.
Yeah, you just said say goodbye or whatever, and so we say goodbye, and then another flash.
Yeah,
in the sky.
It went shooting across.
So yeah.
Yeah, another one went shooting across in front of us, and they were saying goodbye too.
Yeah. So it was pretty amazing to see all that, and pretty fun, and it was just so great to be out there in the desert anyway, just sitting there enjoying the company and the night air, and just the stories that you have to share, because your stories are fun and amazing. And so our goal is to get people in the community here in Vegas together, where we can all get together and start sharing our stories.
Yeah.
Because I know that there are other people. A lot of my clients have had alien, contact, and they don't know what to do with it. So when they come to me, I listen most of the time, but how great is that to come to someone who has the experience and be able to talk to that. Now, Brent also does QHHT as well. So he has recently moved here to Vegas. So anyone who has that information or that contact that you want to talk to someone who has it, and then you want a QHHT session as well, then Brent can offer you both of those at the same time.
Yeah, that's thank you. It really helps out. I've met a lot of people here who have had some sort of experience, but they don't know who to talk to about it.
Yeah,
and what a lonely place to be on that island by yourself. And I thought, this is where I need to be. Yeah, and I've learned through doing this over and over again, and actually witnessing it, that intent set out into the universe has results. And if a little chap like me, born in a family of 7, can talk and make contact to UFOs and other dimensions, what other greatness do you have, or does other people have beyond that? I mean, the nice thing about One Community Rising is it sparks everybody. It helps everybody touch into their true, authentic self and become the greatness that they are. And when one does that, they don't labor away or slave away at life anymore, and they get closer to freedom. I mean, that's what they're inspiring me to do, and it inspires you, and I want it to inspire everybody else to come into the family.
Right.
And
once you come into that family and you feel that comfort, you were mentioning a minute ago that like a lot of my clients come to me and they're like, I have nobody I can talk to this about. It's so nice to be able to come here and talk about this, and people don't think you're crazy.
Right.
So that's what the One Community Rising, the events that we're putting together, that's the biggest thing, is being able to have a space where you can come and talk with like-minded people about what's happening with you, because everybody is different, their awakening is different, their gifts are different, their greatness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all have it. We're just trying to remember who we were or are before we came here. And so the gifts are coming in so different for everybody, but it's so beautiful and so amazing to watch it evolve.
Yeah.
And yeah. So.
Yeah, I kind of got a kick out of you last night getting your little testimony. Like, well, you believers now, Shay? Yeah, I'm a believer.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. And one more thing that I want to point out, because you and I connect with the Pristine Council.
That's right.
And there is a little clip that, you know, if we get an opportunity, I want to share with everyone. When the Pristine Council told us your connection, you may not remember because, you know, it was a while back, but they told us who you were and what your connection was to Teresa and I, and that basically they were telling Teresa and I that, hey, you guys, you know, you need to quit doubting because you guys are doubters. And Brent is the real deal, and he's like a beacon, and they just always know where he's at. So it was really fun to hear that, and so if we get the opportunity, you know, we'll play that clip for everybody.
Yeah, that's I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
There's also that one clip on YouTube where I was at the SETI Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
I went there. I took my daughter there. That's another really nice story in itself. And I had a laser in my hand that I use for pointing at the anomalies. I said, "There's one." They go, "Where?" And it's kind of hard to see when I just go, "Look right there." They go, "Oh yeah, I can see it." And I noticed that they didn't like the light so much if you point it right at them. And so I asked the question. A ship showed up at about 13 miles away. And I said telepathically, like in a meditation, "You don't like this light, do you?" And they said, "No, we don't. But just tap us with it and we'll respond."
And you got that answer telepathically through your meditation as well.
Well, that way I just asked a question when I saw that big ship and I saw the lights come, the beams were coming out. And there you could see these little beams with lights. They had a solid light, and then around it was a mild light. And I said telepathically, I go, you don't care for this light, do you?" And they said, "No, we don't like it, but just tap us with it." They use the word tap, and we'll respond. Okay, I'll leave the rest up to you to see what happens. Every time I tap that being with my light, what it does. It's massive UFO Mount Adams. It's the one that's a green circle on YouTube. It's got 100,000 views on it. And it's myself and James talking, describing the ship and everything else. But that was a very clear contact as well. And I look forward to the next one.
Yeah, and we'll put a link for that in the YouTube.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
So it'll be there as well, and
that's
people
awesome.
can go see that if they want.
And then we're going to put together an event for people who want to see these things. You know, we're going to go out and do a little night watch and invite more people to come and see.
So please join us and watch for us on One Community Rising. We'll have our events listed on there. You can find us on One Community Rising Las Vegas on Facebook, or you can go to Meetup, and it's One Community Rising Las Vegas there as well.
You're awesome, Shay.
Thank you.
You're so awesome. She's so much fun to work with. And we can go on forever working.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you. Namaste, my friend. I love you.
Namaste. Love you too.